Hello and welcome to an extra episode of In PS We Trust. Today is going to be very different from a normal episode, but there's some things that always remain the same. So my name's Davey, and joined with me as always is Phil.
Hello.
And Spencer.
Wagwan, lads.
So guys, last episode, in episode 26, we talked all about IGN's bracket that they did for the best video games of all time. And it wasn't exactly a very positive conversation, was it?
Bracket's shit, mate. It's just full of lies.
Yeah, it was just bad all round. So what we decided to do was to create our own bracket. So what we have been doing is going into the actual bracket that they did, picking out all the games they had, reseeding them ourselves, and going from there. Now, Spence, do you want to start the screen share off?
Sure, mate.
And we can pull it all up and we can explain how we've done it. So, Phil, do you want to talk us through how we kind of seeded this and any of the substitutions that we've made?
Yeah, sure. So what we did, we took the IGN best video game of all time brackets. We put them into an Excel document, sorted them out. We rated them by their Metacritic score. Of course, some of the older games don't have a Metacritic score. So with those, we did our best to sort of guesstimate what they would be. We haven't rated them too highly or too lowly. They've kind of ended up somewhere in the middle anyway. There's been a few changes to the list because, of course, a certain title we needed to change, which I don't know if is the button on or off tonight, guys? I wasn't sure.
I reckon we should have it on. I reckon if we mess up and we say it, because we're a school night, none of us are drinking tonight. I mean, I'm on the squash. I mean, I don't know what you guys are on.
I'm on the Becks, mate.
Oh, you actually are drinking, are you?
Only a few, but yeah.
Madman.
I've literally got a glass of water, so I'm on the weakest stuff ever. I'm on the council pop tonight.
That H2O, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think the button should stay on, and I think if we hit it, then it goes into next episode.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, okay.
So as the button's on, the game that cannot be mentioned, we've changed from the fourth entry in the series to the second entry in the series, because jointly, that is our favourite, I would say, out of the series. I know, Davey, you're a fan of the original more than the second, but 2 versus 1 on this one. So the second edition of that game entered into our brackets. I know why you've asked me to do these introductions because you knew that certain title would come up, wouldn't you? So thanks for that.
I took 2 shots last episode. Okay, I need to somehow force it on someone else now.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully I avoid all those pitfalls. We've also changed Pokemon Yellow to Pokemon Red, and there was one final one that we changed as well. It was Metal Gear Solid. So we changed Metal Gear Solid 3 to the original Metal Gear Solid.
And so, yeah, so all the seeding on this, unlike IGN where they did it on a 1 to 16, we've done a full seeding, which is based purely off Metacritic. And the reason why we did that, and we did it off Metacritic as opposed to our own opinion, is because otherwise, first seed's just going to win. So it's kind of pointless, isn't it? We're just ranking them at that point. Whereas this way, then, we're going to get matchups that we may be really torn against. And we could even have some real big upsets from games that are ranked really highly on Metacritic that we don't feel the same way. So it just makes it a whole lot more interesting. Now, audio-only listeners, which the vast majority of you, I will say that this is the first time we've ever done anything on camera. So our YouTube channel, if you just type in PS We Trust, or in PS We Trust, I should say, into YouTube, you'll find our channel there. All our stuff from now on is going to be video, as well as an audio-only podcast. So if you do want to see our beautiful faces, and I got to say, guys, you're looking very fetching today.
Well, I didn't know what you guys looked like until today. This is the first time I've ever seen you in person. It's normally just been a voice.
Like the Oracle, mate. You're just hearing it in the background. Just from the top of Mount Krakatoa. Just hearing this echoing of God come across, and it's me. Well, here I am wearing my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 t-shirt, repping up. Please bring it back. Please bring it back. But anyway, so if you do want to check that out, you're more than welcome to go on there. If you're audio only, we love you exactly the same. You're going to get a cracking, well, hopefully, a great podcast experience. Now, the way we're going to do this is we're going to break it down just matchup by matchup. We're just going to go in from the start of the bracket all the way through And so we're starting at round 1 here. I think we do this in order with who's bringing in the matchup, but we just open it up to conversation then from there. Yeah, that's the easiest thing.
That makes sense. And obviously, there's going to be some which are just clear winners, which we can just move on really quickly because we don't want this to end up as a 4-hour recording tonight. Spencer's got work tomorrow. I can see him nodding there. So we've got to get through this quickly.
Please. I beg.
Well, Spence, tradition dictates you kick off with most things. So why don't you bring us in for the first matchup?
Sure. All right. Well, for the first set of the evening, we have The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time versus League of Legends.
So, hold on one sec. Is Ocarina of Time the highest rated game on here? Is that first seed?
It is. It has a 99 Metacritic.
Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. I mean, do we need to spend long on this?
I think Phil wants to argue.
I don't want to argue. I think there is a clear winner with this. It's very hard to even put League of Legends into this, I think, when it's the best game of all time, because we're talking very much about, I think the vast majority of these are story-driven games, aren't they, as opposed to like competitive games here. So I think for me, The Legend of Zelda is going to beat League of Legends, even though I'm in a League of Legends t-shirt tonight, right? I'm repping Fnatic. They've got through to Worlds. Let's go, boys. But unfortunately, I think you're going to go out first round here.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely voting for Zelda. Don't know about you, Spence.
Yeah, it's got to be, done it.
Yeah.
Easy.
See you later, League.
So?
It's 3-1. 3-0, isn't it?
3-0.
It's a 3-0.
Because it was a wash.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all voted for
Oh, actually, we could do our votes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That works really well.
So, Phil, over to you.
Okay, next up on the list, we've got Pokemon Red. Which was the Pokemon I chose. Me and my brother, we both bought Pokemon originally. He went Pokemon Blue, I went Pokemon Red. I think that's probably why it's ended up in this list rather than Yellow. And against Half-Life Alyx, which is the game I have not played but would love to play. How about you guys? What's your experience with these games?
Well, I never had Red. I had Blue.
Oof.
Blue's my favorite color.
We are always opposite, aren't we? Whatever happens on this podcast, we always go the other end, don't we?
I tell you what is annoying, though. If I was in Japan, I could have gone green. And that just annoys me. Because my starter Pokemon is Bulbasaur.
Really?
Always Bulbasaur to start.
I would have destroyed you then.
Yeah, you would have done. Yeah, you would have done. Yeah, definitely. But, I got the Kamehameha. I got the Solar Beam.
Is that the reason you would have chose Bulbasaur?
Pretty
That's
much.
crazy.
And he's just cool, isn't he? He's just cool. He just sounds like a beast. Boba. He just sounds like he's just going to mess you up. Whereas, char, you're not scared of that. You're not scared of squirt, but Boba. You're like, oh shit, it's like Batman.
So I know we were talking about clipping things out of this show and possibly putting things on Twitter. That's definitely going on Twitter because I love those little impressions you did, Davey. I love all your accents anyway on the show when you talk about the alcohol you're drinking. So now we're going on to Pokemon sound effects, which is brilliant.
It's very deep. But yeah, my vote's definitely for Pokemon on this. I mean, Half-Life Alyx, like you said, Phil, I haven't played it. I'd love to play it. I'd love to be able to experience it. Maybe on PSVR 2 when we eventually get that. That would be an option. But right now, at the moment, I'm not paying like 10 grand and my left arm for, be able to play that on VR. There's no chance.
How about you, Spence? What are you picking? Because I know you've had a bit of time with Half-Life Alyx, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm the only one out of all three of us that have actually played the game. I played it on my Oculus Quest through Oculus Link on my PC. It's a sick game. It's easily the VR game that shows off what VR can do the most. It's kind of like pioneering what VR is capable of. Whereas Pokemon Red, I didn't play it. My first Pokemon was Pokemon Sapphire.
Wow.
Or Leaf Green. It might have been Pokemon Leaf Green, actually.
Oh, it's just because you're young. I mean, when I was a kid, and probably Phil might be the same for you, I don't know what they were doing in the old folks' home back then, but they had, when we were on the playground, we all had like our Pokemons and link cables, and all we would do was just battle. That's all we did with our Game Boys. It was awesome. Like everyone, it was like the biggest phenomenal I think I've ever experienced ever in my life for anything. Was that Pokemon craze when that anime came out? Jesus Christ, that and the trading cards and the game. It was a madness. And there was kids getting their cards nicked. There's kids getting their link cables stolen. All the Game Boys got banned from school after like 2 weeks because there were just fights all the time. It was crazy.
And
it was carnage.
Do you really think, we would have got so many subsequent games within the Pokemon series if Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue hadn't done so well? Those games were just absolutely crazy in the day. It started the phenomenon. I can't even say the word, which is Pokemon. On the handheld consoles. Going back to kind of like what you were saying about Half-Life Alyx. Yes, it's a very expensive game to buy. The Steam Index, I think, is about £1,000 to buy the full setup for it. I've always said that potentially I would buy one and then maybe resell it on eBay, or buy it on eBay at a slightly cheaper price just to play that game. And I still want to do that because this game is incredible, Spence, from what you're saying. So this one's a very difficult one. I think if I played Half-Life Alyx, I think obviously I would be voting for that. But for me, I think my vote would go Pokemon Red here.
That's fair. That is fair. I do love Pokemon, but I fell off the wagon a long time ago, and now there's just too fucking many of them. I'm done with Pokemon, whereas I love VR. So for me, even though I know Pokemon Red is amazing, Half-Life Alyx is the clear winner.
Davey, you're the decider, mate.
Oh, it's Pokemon. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's Pokemon. There's no way it's not.
Okay, so we're 2 for Pokemon Red and 1 for Half-Life Alyx. Perfect. Davey, bring us in the next one.
All right, so the next one is The Last of Us and Borderlands 2. Do we even need to discuss this, guys? I mean, do we even need to even go there? I mean, I'm voting The Last of Us.
I'm voting The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And
Come on.
Spencer's doing Borderlands, yeah?
Nah,
Spencer's definitely Borderlands.
Come on.
Have we all played both games all the way through?
I've played both games.
Yeah, completely.
I haven't played Borderlands 2 all the way through.
Okay.
I've played about an hour and a half, 2 hours of Borderlands 2, and it's just fine.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games that you could just play, and it's just like
minus
just
1.
dumb fun with your mates.
It's not that bad.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's not The Last of Us,
No, definitely not.
That's it.
Yeah. Sorry, Borderlands.
Get fucked.
You guys going to watch the movie when it comes out?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, Kevin Hart's always good. He's always a good time. But,
moving on.
I don't know.
Right, back to me, boys. The next setup we have, Super Mario Bros. 3 versus Animal Crossing New Horizons. What's your thoughts?
For me, Super Mario Bros. 3 and the Super Mario Bros. Series, that's probably where my origins of gaming sort of starts. I remember back in the day, I'd get to a certain point and then, my mum would have to come upstairs and beat Bowser for me. I freely admitted this multiple times on the podcast. My mum used to help me with games. I still get her in these days, actually, when, I'm struggling in League. She takes over. She's going to get me through to Silver at some stage, I hope. I haven't actually ever played Animal Crossing, but I know it's a incredibly popular game. Davey, have you jumped into either of these games? I know you're a little bit younger than me. Maybe Super Mario 3 passed you by?
Oh, it didn't pass me by. The only thing was I was a Sega kid. So Mario was kind of a swear word, I was so tribalistic with Sega that it was just Sonic Ride or Die up until probably PS1. And then even then I was still up Sonic's arse. So it's a tough one because I've played a bit of Super Mario 3. The only problem is I just don't like 2D Mario. I really just don't like it. It's just not my cup of tea. But I've also played Animal Crossing. My wife's got it. She's obsessed with New Horizons. She loves it. I can't vote for Animal Crossing New Horizons and have a clear conscience tonight because I know how important Super Mario Bros. 3 and sure, it's not for me, but I can appreciate it for what it is. And in terms of a platformer, it's fantastic. Just turns out 2D platformers just really aren't my preferred style of video games. I mean, I love roguelites, so I should love this, but it just doesn't.
And you
doesn't
pronounce it Mario instead of Mario. Mario.
Yeah, Mario.
Okay, we got this. Fine. I would have always said Super Mario World was the better Super Mario game anyway. Out of the initial ones, the one on the Super Nintendo rather than the NES version. But That's the one that made it to the list. I guess that's the highest rating one on Metacritic. Spence, what are your experiences with this game?
I've played both. I pre-ordered New Horizons Animal Crossing, and I played it to death for 2 weeks. I played it for like 12 hours a day, every day for 2 weeks. But the issue is that I haven't played it since, and I have no intention to. Whereas I had the port of Super Mario Bros. 3 on the Game Boy, and that's how I played it. And I've also played it on my Switch, because it's part of the Nintendo Online service. I love Mario 3. I love both these games, I actually do. I've spent a good amount of time with both of these. But Mario 3, in my opinion, is the best Mario game. After Galaxy and 64. It's the best 2D Mario game.
Yeah, Galaxy's sick.
Yeah,
Galaxy's my favorite.
busted. But 3 is easily the best 2D Mario. So for me, out of these two, Mario Bros. 3 takes it.
Okay, so that's
I agree.
straight up 3-0 then.
100%.
So far, guys, I mean, I don't want to jinx it here, but so far this has been
There hasn't
pretty
been many
easy.
arguments just yet, which I'm quite surprised at, considering I think the last episode we all went different ways on a topic. Like you were for it, you were against it, and I was like on the fence somewhere in the middle, right? And that never happens. It's usually both of you against me. So getting a 3-0 is pretty sweet.
I think it might help with the seeding that's been done on this. It might be actually a little bit more fair than IGN's, where they're like knocking out Symphony of the Night and, the game that can't be mentioned for, both of those in the same bracket. We might not have that, although I haven't scrolled through the rest of the bracket to see what we've got coming up. So it could very well be that I've completely messed up here and it's going to get really difficult later.
Okay, next one up, we've got Bioshock versus the Sims 3, if I can get my words out. I can see Spencer's already put a 3-0 in there, which I think you've read our minds.
Yeah, Bioshock's one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, the others are The Sims.
Yeah.
This one's a nice quick one, isn't it, really?
Yeah, fly for it. All right, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is a little bit tougher. Right, so now we're getting into some actual knockouts here, some team deaths. We got Super Mario 64 versus Super Mario World. Now, guys, Super Mario 64 I had a bit of a difficult time with. We'll put it like that. I was originally thinking about reviewing it on YouTube, and what happened was I just hated the way it moved. And Spence said to me at the time, he said, just stick with it and you'll get good, and then it will feel like butter. And I was like, I don't know about this. Hours and hours and hours later, he was definitely right. And it turned out that game is just really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it. I've got no interest in going and getting all the stars or anything because there's no trophies. So why the fuck would I bother? But I completed the game, got it done, and really enjoyed my time. Whereas Super Mario World, it's 2D Mario. It's not my cup of tea. Don't know about you guys, though.
So for me, as I said, Super Mario World is my favorite Super Mario. This is the one that I have the most kind of sort of pass with, especially, as I said, playing with my mum back in the day. So we both took different characters. I think I would take Mario, my mum would take Luigi. I would go through the levels, collect all the lives, and my mum would go through and defeat the bosses. So that was my experience of Super Mario World. But I have played it since on my own and managed to complete it on my own, which is a big achievement, and I'm very happy about it. And I have completed Super Mario 64 as well. Loved it, but absolutely hated that bloody penguin level. And I'm sure you all know what level that is. Fucking penguin, man. Racing that penguin down the mountain. Yeah. My God, that was so annoying. But yeah, I think my vote would be Super Mario World because I've played that game to death.
Ooh, so it comes down to you, Spencer. It comes down to you to be the deciding vote on this.
Well, I'll give it away immediately. I've never played Super Mario World.
Rip Super Mario World.
64, I've never played in its entirety either. I've only ever played it to speedrun it. Because I saw it was a fun speedrun and it was quick to learn and it only takes half hour, like 20 minutes to half hour to beat. So I thought, you know what, I'll learn that. I learned it. My best time was like 24 minutes. I'm not very good at it. But I do some 16-star Super Mario 64 speedruns and it's fucking fun. So for me, it's Mario 64.
So we got a 2-1. Mario 64 goes through to the next round. Super Mario World goes out round 1.
The next one, the next match we have is Uncharted 2 Among Thieves versus Diablo 2. What do you boys think?
Oh, Joseph Thomas is going to be fuming. He's going to be so angry at this. Yeah, my vote's Uncharted 2, without a shadow of a doubt. The only experience I've had of Diablo 2 is that hour and a half or whatever it was that we put into that beta, and it just wasn't great. It as I said a couple of episodes ago, it just feels like a worse version of Diablo 3, which I know is like complete slander. People are going to be going fucking mental. There'd be some crashes on the motorway because of that. Someone would be like, what the fuck? And just like turn into oncoming traffic. End it all straight away. But Uncharted 2 is my second favourite out of the Uncharted series. So I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I wish we had subbed that. Can we sub it right now to Uncharted 3? Because that's both our favourites, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's your favourite too,
I think mine's
Spence, isn't
4.
it?
Really?
I really like 4.
What?
Whoa, stop the recording. We need to sort this out.
I think
What the hell? Why is 4 your
it looks
favourite?
sick, and all the flashbacks and stuff where you play as like Kid Nate. It's just sick. I like that kind of stuff.
One Kid Nate in Uncharted 3.
Not when you
That's Uncharted 3.
ones?
It's just you and your brother, innit? It's just you and your brother dicking about in that person's house in Uncharted 4, innit? Isn't that the only bit?
Yeah, I played all of them in like the span of a week, so I might be mixing up Uncharted, to be fair. But there's one where you follow Sully, and you first meet Sully, and there's one where you escape the little orphanage place, whatever it is, with your brother.
Yeah, so that latter one is Uncharted 4, and the one where you're meet Sully for the first time, that's Uncharted 3.
Uncharted 3 is really good.
Uncharted 3 is the one with the cruise ship, which I think is my favourite bit of Uncharted
5.
ever. The bit where you're in a cruise ship and then you walk past this glass like 10 times and you're like, that's definitely going to go. That's 100% going to burst. And then all of a sudden then you're like, oh, maybe it's not going to burst. And then it bursts. And you're like, oh shit, you're just running through this tidal wave of water. Oh man, that game's so good. That game is so good. And it's in the part where you're on the back of a plane and all the luggage falls out and then you fall into like some desert.
You get the PlayStation
man, that
All-Stars
game's great.
level from that as well, don't you?
You do. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So yeah, let's change that one live. Let's go Uncharted 3. Does that change your vote, Spence? Because my vote would be Uncharted out of the two, even though I've played both of these games at the time of release. I absolutely loved Diablo when I was a bit younger, played many hours, and that was one of the first games that I actually played online, really. But no, Uncharted 3 definitely would get my vote out of these two. That's the game I would go back to play over and over again. I didn't enjoy Diablo 2 remastered when we went back to it.
Fair. So another 3-0 to Uncharted 2, which has now become upgraded to Uncharted 3.
Yeah.
That would cause some drama as well. People really swear by
Nah,
Uncharted
it's
2
fine.
being the
Fuck
best.
'em.
It's our podcast, mate. Mass Effect 2 and Bloodborne. I feel like Spencer's preempted our votes here. And you'd probably be right, because I haven't played Mass Effect 2. I've only played Bloodborne. Have any of you guys actually played Mass Effect? Because we already have talked many times about how much you love Bloodborne. So I don't think we need to really go into that. Yeah.
No. I haven't played Mass Effect. It's one of those games, when the remastered collection of Mass Effect came out, it's something that I am going to pick up. I am going to play. Just not right now. And so, no, I haven't got round to it. I've heard Mass Effect 2 is the best one in the trilogy, or the quadrilogy now, if you count Andromeda. And people absolutely love that game. They swear by it being one of the best games ever made. I can't speak to it. And so, for me, my vote obviously goes to Bloodborne.
Lock it in, Spence.
Sick. I mean, I've played Mass Effect 3, but I haven't played 2. And I've played the fuck out of Bloodborne.
So weird.
So,
Right, so the next roundup, we've got Metroid Prime versus Tetris. Now, this is a hard one, I think, because you've got to consider how you go in about this. Do you go for what it did for gaming? And in terms of, it's fucking Tetris? I mean, it's fucking Tetris. I mean, everyone knows Tetris, right? Like, you can go to your gran and be like, oh, do you want to play a game? She'll be like, oh, I'll play Tetris. Like, everyone knows Tetris, right? But then I love Metroid Prime. I really, really like Metroid Prime. And if I had the choice between playing that or playing Tetris, I'm going to play Prime. It's difficult. My vote's going to go Prime. And I'm doing it solely off me and what I would prefer rather than its general impact on gaming as a whole.
I'd love to look at the sales figures for this. Think how many units Tetris has sold across all the different platforms it's ever been on versus...
It's got to be the highest
I would say it's
selling.
one of them.
It's got to be.
You know, there's a lot of tough games in that list that are very popular against Metroid, which is, as we discussed in the last podcast, a very popular series. People would swear by it, but actually didn't translate to sales. So for Nintendo, I think Tetris made them a shit ton more money than Metroid. But does that make a good game? Does that make the best video game of all time? Because that's what we're here to sort of prove and find out. Metroid Prime, obviously, there's a lot more game to it than Tetris. Tetris is a very simplistic idea, but it's very classic and it hasn't changed over the years. I'm sure if you downloaded Tetris now on your iPhone, it's the same version, might be in color, that I had on the original Game Boy. This is a very hard one. I can't even sit on the fence with this, can I? Spence, what are you going for?
Oh, you're
I don't know yet. I don't know. I need to think about this.
Okay, I've only played a bit of Prime. I'm a gamer, innit? Everyone's played Tetris at some point in their life. Mum plays it to this day on her phone. Tetris is sick. Tetris is actually a sick game. But I don't need to play Tetris ever again. Whereas I do still need to play Prime, and I want to play Prime. I wouldn't mind playing Tetris. It'd be fun. But that's it. It's fun for 20 minutes. Whereas Prime's an experience.
Yeah. No, I see where you're going with that. Like Tetris is, you could dip in for 20 minutes or whatever it is. Like you're traveling to work or, you're on the train or something like that. But Metroid Prime is a video game, right? It's a full experience. And I think that's what we're here today or tonight to find out. So maybe you've swayed me there. I'll have to go Metroid Prime. But I think this has been the most difficult one so far, which is quite strange to think Tetris is, put up such a struggle, really.
Tetris, it's an OG. I mean, the OGs are there for a reason, man. They don't mess around. They come and they game. And Tetris brought the fury, but Samus is just too damn fine. So it's a 3-0 to Metroid Prime over Tetris. Tetris, see you in the loser's bracket. We're not doing a loser's bracket, by the way, guys. We're not.
Run it
We'll
back with the loser's bracket.
Single.
Knocked out first round. You know all about that, mate.
Suspense. What's next?
Next, we have Minecraft versus Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think this one's kind of hard, but I know what my choice is. I've played both of these games to death. Put both of them loads. I bought Minecraft when it was in alpha on PC, way before it even came out. And Mario Kart 8, I played it on the Wii U, and I have it on the Switch, and I've almost got the gold, all 4-star on all the trophies, all the cups. But this is best video game of all time. Minecraft did a lot for gaming. It's still one of the most popular games today, and it's been out for ages. And Mario Kart's fun. It's dumb fun. If this was original Mario Kart, maybe I'd pick that. Because it did a lot more for gaming than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did. So I'm choosing Minecraft.
I think for me, this one, again, is a very difficult one because you are looking at what these games have sort of achieved. And obviously Minecraft is such a big game and so popular and means so much to so many people. And if you think about it, it's probably introduced so many people to gaming. You just have to walk down the street. The amount of kids that have got Minecraft t-shirts, it's that kind of thing. It's so damn popular. I know a lot of that has transitioned now into Fortnite, but I don't think without Minecraft you would have had the popularity that you now have with Fortnite because those kids have grown up with Minecraft and gravitated towards that game. With Mario Kart, my love has always been Double Dash. That's the one I've always enjoyed way more than any of the newer additions. It kind of feels slightly like they're running out of ideas over at Nintendo. They need to spice it up a little bit. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to go with your side, Spence. I liked your argument there. I'm going to go for Minecraft over Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
So I'm going to be joining you guys as well with Minecraft. Now, I've never played Minecraft at all. I just never have. And And I just got really bad memories with fucking Mario Kart. Every time I play it with Phil and all our mates,
Get blue shelled.
in the first for ages, blue shelled.
You've got to
and then just
understand though,
lose.
we let you go first place so we can get the blue shell, because that's the game, right?
Fucking
It's
hate
not
Mario
that
Kart.
complex. It's not a complex game, but for whatever reason, you seem to fall for it.
Oh, every time. I just want to be first. That's all it is. It just gets me. My pride. My goddamn pride. My Saiyan pride. So, no, I agree with you guys. I haven't played Minecraft, but you know, the points that you made there are excellent.
Let's lock it in.
Clean sweep, 3-0.
So, the next round we got is Red Dead Redemption versus Apex Legends. Now, I fucking love Apex. I love Apex. I actually really, really do. I played it to death. It was I think it was second out of all the games I played on PS4. It was my second in terms of most played. Red Dead Redemption I actually didn't like. I had it on PlayStation Plus back on PS3, and that's where I first played it. And it just didn't connect with me. I don't know why. I mean, I don't mind cowboys. They're okay, I guess. But I don't know. I think I just came to it too late, and it just felt really, really archaic when I actually played it, and I couldn't get into it. So for me, I'm gonna go and vote Apex, but I know that is a madness of an opinion.
I think here we're trying to find out the best video game of all time. Red Dead is that full experience. Apex is, run and gun. I'm not saying Apex is a bad game. When I've played with you guys, it is a brilliant game and brilliant experience. But Red Dead is that full experience, and the amount of people that I know that have played this game and swear by it, I think that's why that's got my vote. So it's 1-1, Spence. You're the decider on this.
Wicked. All right. I've played Apex a decent amount. I've actually never played Red Dead. Even so, the vote is still Red Dead, because Red Dead is huge. It is a huge franchise. There's only 2 games and it's fucking huge. Granted, this Rockstar smash it.
There's
Undead Nightmare.
There's 3 games. There's not Undead Nightmare. There's Red Dead Revolver, which is different. I played that. That game was sick on PS2. It was very different. It wasn't open world. Still Rockstar, but
that's all right,
yeah.
mate.
Sorry.
Corrected me. I appreciate it. So, even though I played Apex is just a battle royale. That is all it is. It doesn't really, push gaming forward very much. And I don't think Red Dead does either too much, because it's kind of just GTA with cowboys. That's really all it is. But it's just a fantastic game. Even though I've never played it, I know it's a fantastic game. So, that's my vote.
Let's do it. 2-1.
Fair.
Next set, we have Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare versus Overwatch. Both multiplayer competitive shooters, so kind of fitting. I've played both of them. One of them a lot more than the other, and that's because I was a fucking kid with an Xbox 360. I played COD 4 to death. What a sick game. I don't think it's the best Call of Duty, personally.
I wish we'd subbed that one out. I wish we'd subbed it for Modern Warfare 2.
I wouldn't have picked Modern Warfare 2. Also, Call of Duty 4
would've.
Modern Warfare is the game that started Call of Duty Online.
Well, no, it didn't. It didn't start Call of Duty Online, but what it did do is it revolutionized COD. It proper just revolutionized COD and put it on the trajectory that it's been on ever since now, up until now. If we didn't have Modern Warfare, we
Modern Warfare 2.
we wouldn't have had COD like it is now. It was, yeah. But Modern Warfare 2's just got everything. It's just everything that Modern Warfare did, but just better. I would personally go for that. I'm happy with Modern Warfare being there. I mean, I don't think Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 would have too much of an impact on the overall bracket. But, I mean, who knows? Fuck knows. This run's going to be nutty, I think. But, yeah, I would have voted for Modern Warfare 2 as the best COD.
Oh, I'd agree with you. It's the only one that I've really spent any time in. I do own Overwatch, but purely probably buying that off the back of, playing a lot of WoW and liking Blizzard. But I really didn't get on with Overwatch at all. So here my vote would go to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 if that's what we're replacing it with.
Nah, I think we're sticking with Call of Duty 4. I played Modern Warfare 2 to death as well, but my favorite one is Black Ops. Black Ops 1. Because that one was the one I spent so much time on. I adored that game. And it didn't introduce zombies, but it kind of... it was great in World at War, but Black Ops did it better, I think. Because you had Kino de Toten, and that map was sick.
Treyarch obviously did... no, it's Infinity Ward, wasn't it? Who did Modern Warfare 2, and it was Treyarch that did Black Ops, right? And it kind of put Treyarch back on the kind of same level as Infinity Ward, because Infinity Ward were just riding high with Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and Modern Warfare 2. They were the COD studio, and now it's Treyarch. These days, it's Treyarch. Everyone turns to. So it's weird how these things go, really, and the history of it all. I'm quite happy keeping it as Modern Warfare. You know, if that's the case, it is a landmark game, and the story was incredible.
Yeah, all right. Let's keep it as Call of Duty for Modern Warfare then. But my vote would still go to that over Overwatch. How about you guys?
Yeah, definitely Modern Warfare without a shadow of a doubt. Overwatch, I'd never played. Don't fancy it. It's just not my kind of game. And COD 4 is a landmark in the first-person shooter genre. I mean, it's up there with games like Halo in terms of revolutionizing first-person shooters going forward on console.
On console, so, right? Okay, I see where you're going.
Definitely.
That's fair. I played both. I played Overwatch quite a lot. I bought it on release when it came out on PC, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it. Whereas Call of Duty 4, granted I was a kid, so your opinions are different when you're a kid. You kind of just play what you have. But I fucking loved it. I adored it. So for me, it's easiest vote so far, I think, other than, Last of Us. Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare wins.
Oh, I think this one might be a bit difficult for us to decide on. So next up, we've got The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild versus Street Fighter 2. Who wants to kick off with this? Davey, you've got the right T-shirt for a fighting game. Do you want to start us off?
I try not rant, because when it comes to Breath of the Wild, I got a lot to say all the time about it. Breath of the Wild's the most overrated game in recent memory. It is so overrated, it's actually insane. It's a good game. It's a good game. It's not a great Zelda game. It's got nothing. I mean, it's got Zelda in it. It's got Link in it. It's got Ganon in it. About it. That's literally about it. There's no fucking dungeons. It's literally... It's just an okay game. It's just kind of bland. Sure, you can kind of explore around the world and you can shoot apples out of a fucking tree. But there's nothing there. There's like 10 enemies scattered around about a 10-kilometer thing. It's just all right. I honestly, I don't see why this game got the reception that it did. I honestly just don't get it. I mean, in that same year, you had Horizon came out, and Horizon did an open world experience to a much higher level, in my opinion. Now, I know that obviously goes completely against Metacritic, because this game is rated stupidly high. But yeah, I don't see the hype. Now, going against that, Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2 isn't my favorite in the series, not even close. My favorite is Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter Third Strike, pretty close there. And then when you come into fighting games, I mean, the versus games, I much prefer Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, even though I'm absolutely shit at them. I just really enjoy them, especially to watch. Street Fighter 2 is just one of those games that it's just more important than anything else, really, in terms of the genre that I love. Without Street Fighter 2, you wouldn't have had, directional input specials. Like, to think that game invented that, and people would go on to it and press, down, forward, square or whatever, and do a Hadouken. And you think, like, what the hell? Like, someone would just, like, drag it in a quarter circle and press, like, attack and do a Hadouken. They'd be like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck's this? And then from there realize that all the cast has these own unique moves, some charge, some not. It's just an incredible game. And to think that it's still played competitively to this day, it's just testament to how good that game is. It's definitely Street Fighter 2 in my opinion. Easiest vote ever.
Nice. Spence, how about yourself? Have you played through Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild?
I have. I got my Switch on midnight launch. I went to game and picked it up at midnight, and I got it with Breath of the Wild. and I beat that game in 3 days because I did not put it down. I did enjoy it. It was very good. Definitely not the best Zelda game by far because it's not a Zelda game. Unsurprisingly, I completely agree with Davey. This game is overrated to Kingdom Come. Whereas Street Fighter 2, one of the first things I had as a kid was, you remember those little plug and play consoles where you plug it directly into your TV?
Yeah, I know the ones.
Yeah, I still have it
Yeah,
now as well.
yeah.
I have a Street Fighter 2 one of those.
Oh, amazing.
It's sick. It is
That's
sick.
sick.
I love it. And I've bought Street Fighter 2 on my Switch. I bought it on the 360, I think. I love it. I just love Street Fighter. And Street Fighter 2 obviously is the roots. I don't think it's the best one. Third Strike's the best one, in my opinion. But Street Fighter, it wouldn't be there if it wasn't Street Fighter 2. So you have to give Street Fighter 2 the respect it deserves. For me, this is easy Street Fighter 2.
I'm going to have to agree with you guys on both these points. One, because I've never played Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, so I'll take it from you that, it's a good game in itself, but as Davey says, it's not a legit Legend of Zelda game itself. My vote will go for Street Fighter, part of my earliest memories when we were talking about Super Mario World is also playing Street Fighter 2 over my nan's house, and I thought I was sick because I could actually do an Hadouken. My nan couldn't do an Hadouken, so I beat my nan back in the day, and I thought I was amazing at fighting games. And that started off the legacy. Now we've gone through periods where we've run fighting game tournaments, Davey. We've tried to be competitive at it. Obviously, you were a little bit more successful than myself, but we had a great time at it. And obviously, we wouldn't have got into that scene if Street Fighter 2 didn't kick it all off. So yeah, my vote, Street Fighter 2.
Hang on, mate. Did you ask your nan to play Street Fighter 2 with you and then just run away and throw Hadoukens the whole time?
100%, mate. I had to take the win.
That's grimy. That's some grime right there.
But his nan was playing so dry. He had to zone her out. And then he just popped off. Fuck you, scrub. Slams the controller down. Does an X-Pac.
Well, it was a money match. I have to get my pocket money somehow.
That'd be sick. Playing games to get your pocket money. That'd be sick. That's how you should do it, Davey Vicass.
Yeah, I might do. When he gets a little bit better at Smash, that might be how I do it. Until he beats me. And then as soon as he starts beating me and takes my money, I'll upgrade. Spence. He's got to get through you then.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, clear winner, 3-0.
3-0, Street Fighter.
All right, so next up, we've got... it's going to be potentially a tough one. This is going to be one that's going to piss people off. I can tell you that now. Burnout 3 Takedown or Chrono Trigger. Now, I'll make something very clear up front. I've never played Chrono Trigger, but I've heard it is excellent. I mean, I love Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9. And at the time, I remember as a kid, everyone was telling me to play Chrono Trigger. And I just never did. I don't know why. But I do know how much I played Burnout 3 Takedown. And that game is an absolute masterpiece. It is a game that if they remade that now, that would break the internet. People would go fucking nuts for Burnout 3 Takedown. That game is absolutely incredible. I spent so many nights when I was like 16 getting pissed up on Lambrini in my mate's living room playing Burnout 3 Takedown. Jesus Christ, that game is just something else. I adore that game. Easy vote for me, although I know it's one that I am going to get shit on online for.
Right, well, I've never played Burnout 3 Takedown, but I have played Chrono Trigger, and I played it on this. So if you don't know what this is, and I have to explain it for the audio-only podcast anyway, this is the PlayStation phone.
Nice.
It has triggers on the back and everything.
And of course, our blind listeners that may be watching the YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they got you, but yeah, of course they need to know. This little thing, when I got it, was sick, and the first thing I did was download emulators, and I played Chrono Trigger to death. I can't remember it, not gonna lie. I just remember loving it. I just played that and Crash Bandicoot 1. Sick.
That's great. That's great, to be fair. One of my mates, Polly, he had that same phone and loved it, and I was so jealous. I was so jealous at the time, and I was going through this period of my life where I just didn't upgrade my phone. So I think I was still on like some like flip phone, which I just had from like when I was 18, and just kept for like forever because it was all right, and I had like 10 quid credit on it. Good times. Good times. Yeah, that great little piece of history there, showing that off.
I
So
love this phone.
appreciated seeing
Yeah,
that.
it's
Little blast
fantastic. I
from the
might
past.
actually start using it again just for the emulators. It'd actually be worth it. I got Pokemon and shit on this. It's great.
I had an N-Gage. Do you guys remember that phone?
N-Gage?
Phone? So it was like a video game phone by Nokia, and you basically had your own cartridges that you could slot into it.
Yeah, I
remember
remember
playing
it.
Pandemonium on it. Yeah, that was a game.
What a
that's
game
a
that
throwback.
is.
It doesn't
PS1
feature in
classic.
the list, unfortunately, but yeah, if we're talking about phones.
Yeah, I've played Chrono Trigger. I've not played Burnout 3, and I love Chrono Trigger, so it's easy vote for me. Chrono Trigger takes it.
Well,
Phil, mate.
I'm gonna have to
Come
be
on.
honest with this. I haven't played either of these games, but I'm looking at the IGN best video game of all time, and Burnout actually beat Chrono Trigger in the first round. So strangely, this one's linked up again. What was the score? So Chrono Trigger got, I think, 41%. Burnout got 59%, and I think that caused a lot of outrage. So to side with the haters of IGN, I think I'll go Chrono Trigger. Just purely because I, want to win you guys over.
You're a sheep, but I
That's
love
what
it.
it is. Yeah.
Oh well.
Right, so next we have Super Metroid vs Titanfall 2. And I'll say now, I've played a little bit of Super Metroid, not a lot. And I've played a bit of Titanfall 2. Granted, I played Titanfall 2 with Davey. It was way after release, and it was
fucking
horrible.
shit.
We'd get into a game, and it'd be laggy for about 3 minutes until it kicked you. And that was it.
Don't you remember all the people
Yeah.
like cheating and they were like flying all over the map, just continuing? It was like we were playing fucking Attack on Titan. It was insane. It was insane. You just literally spawn, you'd just be like headshot because someone's like flied up into the fucking upper atmosphere. It was like they're chilling on the International Space Station, just getting snipes off. It was a madness. It's a fucking nightmare. Nightmare of a session that
God.
was.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible. So I have no love for Titanfall 2. I did love Titanfall 1, but that's not the game we're talking about. I know Super Metroid's amazing. That little bit I played it was great, and I do want to revisit it before I play Metroid Dread. So for me, Super Metroid takes the cake. Phil, mate, what's your views?
I've played both these games, but I wouldn't say I played Titanfall 2 that much because, as you guys sort of have covered, it was kind of a dreadful experience to play any later than maybe on launch, when people sort of understood what was going on in that game. But even on launch, I don't think it was that great. But I did get heavily into the Titanfall series. It was the reason I bought the original Xbox One, I think it was. So for the listeners that don't know, I used to work for Gadget Show. And I had the opportunity to go down to the Xbox One launch, and I actually got the Xbox One on launch day with Titanfall, the original one. So played that quite a lot. But Super Metroid, it's the experience, isn't it? And I think my vote here would definitely go towards Super Metroid over Titanfall 2 because that game was dreadful.
Yeah, I'd agree with you 100%. Definitely it's a 3-0 Super Metroid.
Okay, next up. We have the winner of the best video game of all time from IGN, The God of War. That's the 2018 version, for anyone that gets confused. And we have Dishonored. I've played both these games. Davey, I can see you almost in tears now. What's going on, mate? How are you feeling?
Oh, I fucking love Dishonored. I fucking adore Dishonored. I actually love it. But to go up against God of War is a fucking death sentence, isn't it? Oh, this one, pour one out, guys, for this, because this is gutted. This is why we need a losers bracket on this, because Dishonored would start sweeping through on that. Oh, rip Dishonored. I love you, Dishonored. Arcane just hit it out of the park. They just did an absolutely brilliant job with this game, and they did an actually incredible job with the second one as well. Now, I do have one issue with Dishonored, which I'm going to voice now. I got fucked out of the platinum on this game.
How do you mean?
And it does my head in. Because, mate, you have to complete that game through like 4 or 5 times for the platinum. You know, not kill anyone, do it so you're like completely just don't get seen, shit like that. Did all that. Last trophy is that you've got to collect like 13 paintings that are across the world. So I'm speed running it through, get all my paintings, get to the last one, and it's locked behind this door, and I can't open it. And it turns out that it was a choice that you have to make, some flippant choice from like 4 hours before, that I just chose the wrong thing and just killed the NPC because I was just going on a chaos run, just killing everyone for fun. And so it would have meant I would have had to play it again. And I was like, fuck this game. And literally just turned it off, uninstalled it, and haven't got the platinum. I might go back and get that. I might get that for the next episode, actually. Yeah, that game's sick. But yeah, my vote's easy going to God of War. I mean, it's my second favorite game on PlayStation 4. One of my favorite games of all time. Yeah.
How about you,
Rip
Spence? How do you
Dishonored.
feel about these two?
Right, well, I've played and I do love both of these games, but there is a favourite. I'm going to go with personal choice here. I played God of War, I think, on release, and I did love it. I played Dishonored. I don't think I played it on release. I played it on PC a while after. I think I got it on Steam Summer Sale or something, and I love that. Dishonored 1 is a fantastic game. But, see, I said but, so you think I'd say God of War. I'm picking Dishonored.
Wow.
Because as much as I know God of War is fantastic, I enjoyed Dishonored more. So I'm just going to go with my personal taste.
That's fine. That's why you're here.
Phil, don't fuck this up now.
Well,
Don't fuck this up.
you know
now.
how I feel about God of War. I don't love it
Oh,
as much as
no.
everybody loves it, right? It won
Oh,
the best
no.
video game of all time, and by quite a big percentage over all the other games within their brackets. But Dishonored, I haven't actually played Dishonored, so my vote is going for God of War.
Yes!
It'd have been
Yes!
so funny.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh,
That'd have been so funny.
thank god. So now we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and Fortnite. Now this one's quite tricky because my childhood was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I think everyone of my generation, that was the game. You know, you go around to any of your mates' houses, even if they don't play PlayStation, they were playing Tony Hawk's. Literally everyone loved it, and that soundtrack was amazing. I mean, there's a reason why it got remastered and got remade, and it sold really, really well and got received really, really well again on Metacritic, because that game is just timeless. It's just arcadey fun, and there's nothing like just pulling off some insane score while you got Papa Roach behind you. I mean, that's always a good time. But on the other hand, you got Fortnite, one of the most popular games in the world, a game which pretty much, I know it didn't start the Battle Royale craze, but it's the one that certainly made it into the craze that it is. It's really tricky, isn't it? Fortnite is one of the biggest games of the last 10 years. It's something that influences generations from here on out. My biggest worry as a parent is that I'm going to come home and see Cassian doing a floss. And
It's gonna happen.
I know it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time because they're going to get him in school. I know it. So that's why I'm trying to get him into Smash and stuff now, you know? It's really tricky. It's really,
Do you want to
really
hear our
tricky.
opinions first before you make your casting vote? So I was a skater back in the day, and Tony Hawk's was the go-to game. I loved that series, and I loved the Matt Hoffman series. And as you said, yes, the soundtracks were amazing. Part of the reason to play the games was listening to all the kind of new metal stuff that was on those discs and discovering the bands. I remember going to the NAS festival with my brother and a friend of the show, Willard, who's a big Bloodborne player. And he actually won the tournament there for Tony Hawk's and ended up taking the top prize just because he was able to pull one trick off, I think, for the 3 minutes that you got to play the game. And he just continued one trick throughout those 3 minutes. So it was like super impressive, right? Back in the day. So I've got much more experience and kind of time with Tony Hawk's as opposed to Fortnite. Davey, we jumped in, I think, when it sort of first came out, maybe season 1, played a little bit of it, but it wasn't meant for us, was it really? It was a bit of fun at the time. But yeah, exactly what you were saying. It's had a massive effect on video games, and it's introduced so many new people into this hobby, which I love, which is video gaming. So yeah, it's very hard. It's kind of my love of a Tony Hawk's game, even though I didn't buy the remaster or anything. I do love the original games and still own them to today. But then going up against the monolith, which is Fortnite. Can I palm this off to you now, Spence?
You can
Yeah.
if you want, mate.
Yeah, let's
You can
I'm
if you want.
palming it straight
We're
to
all
you,
just going to
palm.
palm it off.
Okay, well, similar story to Phil. I was a skater back in the day. I played shitloads of Tony Hawk. I never played Pro Skater 2. My Tony Hawk game was Proving Grounds.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Underground.
No, it's
I thought
Proving
it might have been
Grounds. And I think
Underground.
Proving
that got
Grounds
you.
is like one of the lesser known ones. It's one of the ones that wasn't played much. But that's the one I played to death. And I loved it. I honestly loved it. Skateboarding games are just sick. They're just so easy to have loads of fun for hours. Like
Yeah.
Skate 3 is fucking... Skate 3 is not on this list. It should be. Phenomenal game. But I've also played quite a lot of Fortnite. Not recently, I'll admit, because why the fuck would I? But back in Season 1, played loads. In fact, all three of us hopped in for a while. I remember.
You and me played it for quite a while. We had a solid 4 months maybe that we played Fortnite. I remember we got quite a few Battle Royale wins or whatever they call it. I can't remember now. I think some of my early YouTube content actually had a couple of Fortnite videos go up where I put some Metal Gear sneaky music behind it. I choose to camp basically. And then just come out the last minute. Blah! Out of nowhere. Like a Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, that is what we did.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to say on this. Similar to you boys where you wanted to palm it off. I would like to palm it off, but there's no extra host.
You can palm it back to Davey and push him for a result now, for an answer.
I won't.
You're gonna go for it,
I'll
okay.
make the decision. The issue is, I didn't play Pro Skater 2, I played Proving Ground. But I like Proving Ground more than Fortnite. So I'm going to say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 wins for me.
I'm going to vote for Fortnite.
Martin Luther King did it for you, did it?
It is a great game. No, that's not what did it. That's not the turning point. I think it's just a cultural. It's just like Pokemon was when we were kids. It's like that same level, and it actually is a good game. It's not like I can't shit on it and say
the
it's
only
shit,
difference there is that Pokemon didn't
actually
make
is
us do
good.
L dances and flosses on the yard in school, did it? Whereas this,
True. I mean, Pokemon
That's
made
bad.
us beat the living shit out of each other. It was like Conkers. It's like Conkers 2.0. Conkers, every time Conkers season came round in the UK, for our American listeners, don't even know if you get Conkers over there. Or even if you know what a fucking Conker is. But as soon as Conker season comes out, there's that one kid who puts it in the oven and gets like a rock hard Conker, and they just beat the living shit out of somebody. Well,
Where are you going with this?
Pokemon basically
track,
did that
right?
same thing. Yeah, I'm voting for Fortnite.
It has fallen to me to make the decision, but I think once again I'm gonna fall on the side of Spencer with this one. I'm gonna vote for my heart and my experience in the game, and I much preferred playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 than I did my time in Fortnite. So my vote goes over to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Oh, this one's going to be difficult for you.
Oh,
this one's. I
oh
don't
my
think
God.
It is. So the first game we have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate versus Hades. Now everyone who listens to the podcast knows I adore both these games. For me, you'd think this is a hard one. It's not. It might be. I'm thinking about it now. It might be. I'm going to palm it off. I'm going to palm it off and hear your boys' points before I say anything because I need to think about this.
I think one thing you might want to think about is the majority of your Twitter followers play Super Smash Brothers. So do you want them to listen to this podcast and to carry on with this to watching this video?
Yeah, fuck them off.
Well, there's your choice, isn't it?
Smash Twitter is terrible. Yeah, fuck them off.
The worst Twitter, yeah. It's the worst Twitter. Terrible.
Please.
I mean, I'll take this if you want me to. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The Super Smash Bros. As a series is so important to me, and in terms of my time with gaming, especially in terms of being involved with communities. And Smash Bros. Ultimate is the best Smash game, in my opinion. It is. I love Brawl. I love 4, but Ultimate does so many things right, and it's got the best roster in any game ever made, and it's only growing with the new character that's going to be announced next week, the final one. Easy win. I mean, sure, Hades is by all intents and purposes a great game. After the last episode went up, I've had listener write into me to tell me about Hades and to tell me that Spencer's opinion is wrong, and that do not think of it as anything even remotely close to The Last of Us. Go in with middling expectation and expect to go in there for a game that's fun to play in short bursts. And so I'm like, okay, I'll bear that temperance in mind. So this is an easy clap for me. Smash Bros. Ultimate, without a shadow of a doubt, is one of my favorite games I've ever played, especially in terms of a multiplayer game, and the amount of hours I've dropped in that game is insane.
I was just going to say, Davey, Super Smash Bros. Is the reason, isn't it, that you and Spencer met?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Smash 4. Spencer was an up and coming player at the time, and I was a god, and I took him into my ways. Leveled him up, and now he's a bit of a tryhard at Smash. So he plays a lot more than me.
But then as soon as I beat you, I started getting invites over and everything.
You were worth playing at that point. It was just like
I was
just like beating a child before, wasn't it?
I was shit for like 3 years, but then I was the best. So
yeah.
I guess this is why my
what it is.
invites dropped off, because I'm not very good at Super Smash Brothers. I think I've been replaced by you, Spence. That's the problem here. So, do I love Super Smash Brothers or do I hate Super Smash Brothers for it? But I think I love Super Smash Brothers because without this game, obviously we wouldn't be doing this podcast. You wouldn't be on it. So, yeah, I think my vote pretty much goes to Super Smash Brothers. You would have thought, listeners, that I would have voted for Hades because I'm a massive roguelike fan. Everyone knows that. But that is a game I am yet to play, and I will do. Well, we'll have to see a bit more, because Spencer's going to fill us in, I think, next podcast a little bit more about Hades and your experience. So far it seems generally quite positive. I know, Davey, you own the game, but I don't think you've played a lot of it. So it is a game I want to dig into at some stage.
Haven't played any of it.
Because it did win a lot of awards, didn't it? But tonight, unfortunately, it's going out first round because both me and Davey have voted Super Smash Brothers. So ultimately, sorry, Spence, your vote's irrelevant here.
that's fine. I still have a say, so I'm going to say it. Davey mentioned how many hours he's dropped in, so I actually just checked my Switch, and I have 1,635 hours in Smash Ultimate, and that's not including tournaments, because I don't take my Switch to tournaments. So I have at least 2,000, maybe like 2,200 hours in Ultimate. And then you have to consider the prior Smash games as well, because Smash 4 I played way more than I play Ultimate. Smash 4 I must have had at least 5,000 hours. Oh, there's such different games. I adore Smash. I adore Hades. I am truly loving Hades. I haven't booted it up since before last recording, to be fair, but I also haven't really been on my PlayStation other than to play games with you, Davey. So I said it might be hard. It's not. It's not hard. I have to give it to Smash Ultimate just because of everything it's done for me. My Wii U, I bought it and I earned enough money that it didn't matter. I basically never bought it because I earned that money back from tournaments. Same for the Switch. It's fine. Ultimate, you can put so many hours in Ultimate. If you just message me saying, do you want to play some Smash? Bam, that's an entire night gone. It's amazing.
So it's back around to me. So we have the second edition of two games here. We have Portal 2 and Fable 2. I see Spencer's already filled it out. You already know my vote. I don't need to say anything here, do I?
No, we can save it for later on. It's definitely a 3-0 without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
Portal 2, one of the best games ever made.
I love Portal 2. It's what got me into PC gaming. Because I bought it for PS3 and inside the case was a code for the copy of the game on Steam.
Nice.
And that's how I got a Steam account. I owe Portal 2 a lot. Because it got me into what I do now. So easy win.
Okay. Oh, this is hard. This is a hard one. We got Halo 2 versus Shadow of the Colossus. Now, Shadow of the Colossus, I played originally not on PlayStation 2 when it originally launched. I played it on PlayStation 3. There was a HD remaster of it that was in 3D, if I remember rightly. And so I remember I was living in my first house with my wife. We just moved in together, and I had my little 3D specs on, and I played that game, and it just blew my mind. It blew my mind. And there's a moment in that game, I'm not going to spoil it. It's ages old, but I'm not going to spoil it. There's a moment in that game that it's just really upsetting. And it hit me exactly the same way that it must have hit everyone when that game released like 7 years earlier. And that's a testament to how good that game is. And if anybody hasn't played it, the PlayStation 4 remake of that game by Bluepoint is incredible. It's a must play, in my opinion. It's one of the best games on PlayStation 4. It's superb. Now, going against Halo 2. Halo 2 was pretty much my childhood, and it was my first ever experience of online gaming. I went round to a mate's house, and he had Halo 2, and we just would go on Xbox Live and just chat shit, and just call everyone, tell everyone that you're fucking their mums. And it was just brilliant. It was so much fun, and that game, the campaign's excellent, the multiplayer is just incredible. Being able to play like Infection or Virus or whatever the Halo people call it, just with the energy swords and when you just change your colors, it was just brilliant. It was just such an incredible game, and stupidly important for like MLG and for like kind of early esports before like Call of Duty came into the mix. It's so important. It's such a landmark game. I hate to do this, guys. I'm going to have to palm it off. I'm going to have to palm it off to one of you guys. I can't make this call.
I don't mind jumping in because I don't really have a lot to say about these games. I haven't got a lot of past with them. I've played both games in the past, but very not a lot in either or. I just know Halo 2 has that sort of massive sort of following, especially when it comes to sort of esports, as you said. So I think that probably tips my vote towards Halo 2. So you can lock me in there, Spence.
For me, this is hard to say. I've never played either of these games. My first Halo was Halo 3 ODST, and then Halo Reach. I did love Halo, but Halo 2 was before my time. So I understand it was extremely important for gaming. Weird to say as well, because I understand like Mario 64 was before my time, and I appreciate it though because I've played it. Because I haven't played Halo 2. I know it's important, but it's not really important to me.
If it was that important, you would have played it. It's the same sort of situation when we were talking previously when you said about Super Mario, as you were just saying, like you've played it, but it was before your time because it was that important, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm never going to go back and play Halo 2. I'm going to play Shadow of the Colossus. I have it. So for me, Shadow of the Colossus just wins.
Makes sense.
Sorry, Davey.
In thinking about this, I always say that the best games, for me, elicit an emotional response. I gotta go Shadow of the Colossus. There's 2 moments in that story which are just truly special. And it's a game that will stick with me forever for it being on its own as an experience, rather than the reason why I love Halo 2 so much is because of the company I was with. And I think that's the difference. And sure, that can make a game. I mean, you just look at the 5th entry of the game we can't mention. And mine and Phil's experience of that game was, boosted a lot more than it would have been as just a standalone experience, or as it was when I revisited it with Spence. It's, Shadow of the Colossus for me. I got to go with my heart on that.
So for our next set, we have The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim versus Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I'm going to say right off the rip, I was done with Assassin's Creed a long time ago. Black Flag, I know, I've heard it's amazing. I've heard it's the best Assassin's Creed. I think Assassin's Creed 2 is the best Assassin's Creed, but I haven't played Black Flag. So that's why. I've played Skyrim. I'm gonna get some hate for this. I don't really like Skyrim.
What? Don't you?
No, I don't. Remember when Bethesda got acquired?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't play any of their games. I've tried playing Skyrim a lot of times. I can't get into it. I can understand why people love it. And my friend Dan, one of my best mates, has played Skyrim all day, every day. He adores it. He even bought Skyrim on the Switch. That's how much he likes Skyrim. And that's still full price.
Jesus Christ.
Wow, he's still making bank then.
What
Skyrim.
a sucker.
Yeah.
What a sucker.
He's a madman. So, considering I've never played Black Flag, I don't hate Black Flag. I hate Skyrim.
That's a fair argument, to be fair. I can't fault that.
Yes. So for me, the vote goes straight to Black Flag. I mean, if I do ever give Skyrim another go, I'm sure I'll try it on my fridge or something. But I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I could jump in here. I've played both of these games. Black Flag is incredible. It's the best Assassin's Creed, definitely. It's everything that I really enjoyed about. I'll paint you a little picture here with this. With Assassin's Creed, I was obsessed with it from the first entry all the way back on PS3 when it originally started. I played every single entry, every single year. And Black Flag was just revolutionary for that series. Bringing it into pirates and having like pure boat combat, which was only kind of hinted at with Assassin's Creed 3, and making that a full game. The main protagonist is Welsh, which is also quite hype, since I'm a Welshman. And it's just a brilliant game. Sea shanties are just excellent. Fighting the monsters and the sea monsters that are around the environment and taking on legendary ships. I did everything in that game. I got the platinum. I adored it. It's an excellent game. I've got to give it over Skyrim. Skyrim was great, but it's I played it on PS3. I mean, it's the worst experience you can have for Skyrim. It was actually didn't work for the first 6 months of that game being out, I don't think. So yeah, it wasn't. It was all right. It was good. It was good. I really enjoyed it. But Black Flag to me is just a next level above.
So for me, I've never had the biggest kind of affinity for any of the Assassin's games. I've never really gotten into that series at all. And I've got a lot more history when it comes to sort of Skyrim. I've played it on multiple different consoles and multiple different setups. But one that will probably surprise you, Spence, I actually played this in VR on a early Oculus Rift dev kit, which I was able to sort of set up for one of my previous employers, and that was an experience because Skyrim was a relatively new game at that time, so the graphics, it's not like going and playing it now where things are a little bit jank to sort of play an older game. It was cutting edge at the time, and that was a great experience. So for me, my vote would go to Skyrim, but unfortunately it doesn't bring you past the first round. Sorry, guys.
Fuck Skyrim. Let's go. Black Flag wins 2-1.
So we got Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic versus The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Who wants to kick this one off?
Mine will be short, so I think I'll kick it off whilst you boys ponder on it. I've never played Knights of the Old Republic, and I don't plan to because there's a remake coming out. So if I'm going to play it, I'll play it then. Whereas The Witcher 3, I lent it off of Davey himself, my co-host. It was fun. I played it for maybe 3 sessions, but there's too fucking much to do. I couldn't stick with it. It felt like third-person Skyrim, really. I couldn't be asked. And we've just talked about Skyrim. You know how I feel about that game. The Witcher 3 is a better game than Skyrim, in my opinion. League's better. But also, considering it came out a long time ago, and I only played it recently, the combat didn't feel great, the animations didn't look great, graphics were okay, good for the time. I didn't like it that much. And I couldn't go back to it. I will not play it ever again. But I've not played Knights of the Old Republic. So even though I'm never going to go back to Witcher 3, I did enjoy it enough to vote for it. I don't hate it like I do Skyrim. So that's where my vote lies. What about you boys?
I don't mind jumping in next. So as our listeners know, I really dislike Star Wars games. So immediately my vote is going to go over to The Witcher. I have played a little bit of it, but I know it's such a big game and a big investment in your life to play this game and get through it. I don't think I know anyone who's ended up and sort of maybe even platinum this game, as a lot of you guys are platinum hunters that listen to the podcast. If you have, congratulations, because that is a big undertaking, that game. So my vote go over to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Yeah, I'd probably end up voting the same. Knights of the Republic is an incredible game. It really is. It's hard to play now. It is hard. It doesn't hold up. The story is incredible, and I think when the remake comes out, then it's going to be a different beast entirely. And I gotta say, this is controversial as well. I prefer the second one. I preferred the second one compared to the first, and most people don't agree with that. But I love that game. If it was that game in there, I'd vote for that. But it's not. And I put 80 hours into the Witcher 3 and did absolutely fuck all. And that was enough for me to know that it's a great game. I just don't have the time to be able to dedicate to it. And I suppose that only goes to show the quality that CD Projekt Red were known for at that time, before it all got sullied with Cyberpunk. But 3-0 to The Witcher 3. So, the next one, we have got Batman Arkham City and Starcraft. Now, I love Batman Arkham City. I absolutely adore it. But Starcraft, just one of those games that it's just so important in the overall gaming landscape. I think I'm going to have to palm this off. Does somebody want to jump in on this?
I think these last couple we probably should make a little bit faster because we've been waffling on. This is probably going to end up as a 4-hour recording. But for me, just to go super quick, StarCraft got a lot of history with, played it quite a lot back in the day, and still play a little bit of StarCraft 2 these days. Davey, you've bought me the Arkham collection, so I'm actually yet to play Arkham City. So my vote would have to go for StarCraft based on my previous experience with the games.
Fair play. I've never played StarCraft, but I adored Batman, Arkham City, and Asylum. I borrowed Asylum off my mate on the PS3 before mine was stolen, and I played the hell out of it. I finished it in like a day. I got home from school and just played it. I adored it, and then Arkham City was just better, in my opinion. It was an awesome game. It's just the same combat, different story. It was sick. And I'm going to play StarCraft. So for me, it's an easy vote, and it goes to Arkham City.
So it comes down to me. And listeners, everything I was saying, just completely ignore it. I don't give a shit about StarCraft. I just wanted to see if Phil would react in any particular way. He didn't really seem to care too much. Yeah, fuck StarCraft. It's Batman, for fuck's sake. Batman Arkham City, easy win. See you, StarCraft. See you in loser's bracket. Pussy.
Well, thankfully, StarCraft got a better result than it did in the IGN one because it lost to God of War first round, and that was 90% to 10%. So at least with this one, it got 33.33333% here. So I've done my best to use StarCraft.
Oh, I mean, come on.
Yeah, let's just push past this one.
Yeah, so the next one is Metal Gear Solid and Rock Band. It's a 3-0 to Rock Band, yeah?
Yeah. Certain games we don't need to talk about because we're going to probably flesh them out a little bit as they get towards the later stages of the bracket. So yeah, you can just push Rock Band forward on this one.
Imagine. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3-0. Easy wins.
Easy.
Spence, you're one next, my dude.
All right, mate. So next up, we have the famous best-selling game of all time, runner-up in the IGN Best Game of All Time, Grand Theft Auto 5. And the game that is up against is Fallout New Vegas. And now, you'll remember, just a minute ago, I spoke about not caring about Bethesda and how much I hate Skyrim. I love Fallout New Vegas, and I love Fallout 3. I don't care about the acquisition because all the Fallout games since have been dog water shit. So, it's fine. But Fallout New Vegas is amazing. I've played both these games to death. But GTA 5 is more fun, I'd say, whereas Fallout New Vegas is more of an experience which I appreciate more. So I think it's kind of close, to be fair, but I'm going to give it to Fallout New Vegas.
For me, it's Grand Theft Auto 5. Easy wins. That game is it's just amazing. It's just a great game. And Fallout New Vegas I haven't played. So I can't vote for it in confidence. I can't. I haven't played any Fallout games. I've never played one. Ever in my life.
That's criminal.
It's just Bethesda RPG, isn't it? I could probably do without it, to be honest.
For me, I've played both of these games. Not a ton of hours, specifically in Fallout, probably more towards Grand Theft Auto. So my vote would go for Grand Theft Auto on this one. And it's a big game to go out first round, isn't it? Grand Theft Auto, if I was to vote for Fallout. And there's too many connotations with ex-girlfriends and Fallout, so let's go for Grand Theft Auto.
That's crazy.
Dark past.
Really is.
Dark past, Phil. We don't need to get into that now.
Phil, I think
Okay,
you're
next up we have Doom versus Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I know, David, you've got a lot to say specifically about Castlevania, so do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I can say a lot about both of these, to be honest. I'll just stick to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. My vote is definitely going to be going for Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It is the best Metroidvania ever created. It is one of the best games of all time. There's a moment in that game when you get right to the end where if you do a load of secret stuff that I don't know how anybody would ever find out without looking at a guide, the whole map inverts and you get the same game again. But you just realize that what you've run through is being designed in such a way that when they invert it, it's a whole new environment. So cleverly designed. It's just a brilliant game. It stands up today. I hadn't played it when it originally launched. I played it only a couple of years, only last year for the first ever time. And it blew me away. It looks beautiful. The 2D sprites are just sensational. It's just a masterpiece. It's just an absolute masterpiece. And as good as Doom is, and as important as Doom is to first-person shooters, Castlevania to me is just on another level. My vote, definitely Castlevania.
How about you, Spence?
For me, I played Doom, the original Doom, a little bit as a kid. But that's all for my experience with Doom. I've never played any other Doom. And I know I really need to, because I know Doom and like the Doom that came out a few years ago and Doom Eternal are phenomenal.
What, you haven't played 2016 or Eternal yet?
No.
Dude.
I know.
You got to sort that out.
You
got to sort that out.
I know. I know they're amazing. But I have also played Castlevania Symphony of the Night. We have a friend that writes in all the time, Joseph Thomas. I went over his house and played it on his CRT, the original version of the game. And it was really fun. And he knew how good it was because he just sat there and talked to me and watched me play it. He said, we were playing Smash, and then I said, I've never played Castlevania. And he said, mate, I've got it. Just play it. And I was like, are you sure? He was like, yeah, I'll just watch you. Because he was that excited for me to play the game. And I did love it. I haven't gone back there since to play it again, but I took a picture of the password from where I quit off. So I can go back and start off to where I finished.
What you need to do, Spence, is buy the collection, the Rondo of Blood collection. So you get Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night together. 2 platinums. I got both of those platinums. It's amazing. And Rondo of Blood is a great game as well. Super hard, but really, really good.
Yeah, I definitely should. But considering I enjoyed Castlevania so much and I've not had much experience with Doom, my vote has to go to Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
I thought it was going to go this way, but for me, my vote immediately would go to Doom. It's had such a big impact on me and PC gaming. It was one of the first games that I ever bought with pocket money in PC World. I remember going, my dad bought a compact computer back in the day, and my contribution towards that was to buy Doom. I remember loading it up in DOS and buying a guide, a primer guide, finding out the old cheat code of IDKFA to be able to get into Doom. I've got such fond memories of that game specifically, and the series, even the stuff that's come out recently on the PlayStation. They're both incredible. So Spence, you need to play those, mate. I've got both of them free to borrow them whenever you want. Unfortunately, even though it's not going to make a difference, my vote goes to Doom on this one.
Unlucky Doom. That's one that's died too early, that is.
Yeah, I agree.
See you in the loser's bracket up in heaven.
Have you guys seen that someone actually hacked a Clear Blue pregnancy test and got Doom to run on it?
Wow.
No way, really?
Yeah. And it's no color or anything, but it runs, and you can see it on that little screen. The little screen that says positive or negative. It's running Doom.
How much would that fuck with somebody's mind if they pissed on it and then you put Doom on it and then they thought they were having like some fucking monster kid? They thought they were having the fucking Doom Slayer as a kid. I don't know what I'd do with that. I definitely wouldn't give him a rabbit because, if it dies, then that's, you've just unleashed hell then, basically. Just unleashed this guy who's just going to murder everyone. Jesus Christ.
I think it's back
is it my
yeah,
next?
Davey issue.
All right, okay. So we have got Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and Dark Souls. Oh, Jesus Christ. Some of these in this latter half of this round one are fucking savage. I mean, both of these games, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was so important in the PS2 generation. Those trilogy of Grand Theft Auto games with Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and then San Andreas was one of the reasons why PlayStation 2 was such a dominant console. I mean, partly it was the DVD player. Well, probably most of it was the DVD player aspect to it. But they also had those 3 games, and those 3 games individually are just incredible. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I put so much time into. I completed it. I loved it. I did everything that was possible to do in that game. However, Dark Souls is just one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. I recently, eagle-eared listeners will remember, I recently got the Platinum, went back and played it. The game holds up incredibly well. The PS4 remaster of that game is just great. It's just a fantastic game. And as much as I love GTA San Andreas, as much fun as I had, spawning a jetpack and just killing everyone, Dark Souls just holds a special place to me. And so I have to vote for Dark Souls on this. What about yourself, Spence?
Right. As a kid, most of my memories of PlayStation 2 are of San Andreas. Exactly the same as you. I don't think I ever got past like mission 3 of the campaign because all I would do is load it in, spawn a jetpack, turn on the Cars Fly mod and bunny hops on BMX, and then just drive around in the sky and drop grenades out the window. It was sick. It was a lot of fun. But as important as it was just fun. Whereas I've played Dark Souls. I fucking adore Dark Souls. It's phenomenal. I was thinking of giving it to San Andreas because Demon Souls is what started it off, not Dark Souls. That's the more important one, really. But Dark Souls is what popularized it. So, I mean, personal bias is Dark Souls. And I'm going to give it to Dark Souls anyway, because that game, fucking hell, it's one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. It's so fucking sick. I need to get the Platinum. I got them 2 trophies away. I might do it this week.
You got to do it. And I gave you the weapons to make it so you can just do that Platinum now really easy. All my grind that took me forever, you've just avoided all of that. So I've just given you the keys to the kingdom. You just gotta thumb it in there, mate.
I do. So yeah, my vote straight for Dark Souls. Phil, mate, what's your opinion?
Well, everybody knows how much I love the Souls series and how quickly I've been smashing through Bloodborne, taking out those bosses left, right, and center, finding the game very, very simplistic and easy, and just running through it. So I'm sure Dark Souls will be the next one on my list that I'll just smash out, ready for me to critique on the next future In PS We Trust podcast. My vote will go for Grand Theft Auto on this one. It's much more of a fuller game, isn't it? There's a lot more to it, I think. So yeah, unfortunately, as much as it won't make a difference, the same as the last vote. I think tradition, we're going back to Davey and Spencer versus Phil on things now. My vote will go Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
All right. So next up, we have Persona 5 Royal versus Inside. Now, I've not played the Royal version of Persona 5. I played the base version, and it's the reason I bought a PS4. It's what brought me back into the PlayStation ecosystem. So I owe a lot to Persona 5, because if it wasn't Persona 5, I might not be on this podcast today, because I don't think I'd have bought a PS4. That being said, I bought a PS4, took maybe half a year to get Persona 5, because I didn't have the money, and I still haven't finished it. So, as much as I appreciate Persona 5, and it is a phenomenal game, I loved every second of it, I never went back to it. And now I'd have to restart it, and I was like 60 hours in. So it's just long. So I haven't got back to it. I do plan to, but there's too many games coming out at the minute. I've also played Inside. I played it on PC. I prefer Limbo to Inside. I think Limbo should be on this list instead. The predecessor to Inside. Inside's a great game, but it's a short 3-hour experience, which is fine. Whereas Persona 5 is this huge game with so much going on. All these dungeons you can do, all these friends and lovers you can have. You can go play baseball in the batting cages. You can go in the hot tub in the sauna for a while, level up your courage because you're showing your toddler off in the sauna. There's just so much to the game, and it's done a lot. Persona 5 is huge. The people on Reddit that thought they were Joker from Persona after the game came out is insane. Some of the shit you'd see online about Persona 5 is insane. But it's got such a huge fan base and brought so many people together that I have to give it to Persona 5.
I can't really say an awful lot about this, if I'm honest with you. I haven't played either of these games. I feel like I'm committing some kind of sin for not playing Limbo, which I haven't played, or Inside. And I know that they're both incredible experiences, but I haven't played either of them. So I'm going to have to side with you, Spence, on this, because I can't give an opinion. So you're the only opinion that counts on this, as far as I'm concerned, unless Phil.
I haven't played either of these games, but I have played Limbo. So that's why my vote would most probably go for Inside. I've just been furiously Googling both of these games to try and get a bit of background, really. And if I had to pick either one to play, I would definitely side with more like the indie style than Persona 5, really. So my vote would go for Inside on this one.
I've got something that could make you decide, Davey.
Okay.
Inside doesn't have a platinum.
What?
It doesn't have a platinum.
Fuck that off. Yeah, fuck it off immediately. We'll go for Persona. No platinum at all. No. What the fuck are they thinking? What are they thinking? Jeez, yeah, fuck off. Fuck off.
I knew that'd do it. Let's go.
Up next, guys, we have GoldenEye 007 versus Rise of the Tomb Raider. I know Rise of the Tomb Raider did very well in the IGN best game of all time, so let's see where this lands with you guys. Who wants to start this one, Davey?
This is tricky. Because it all depends on how you want to view it. So GoldenEye at the time was super, super important, especially, just playing it LAN with your mates. Somebody would go odd job and just fuck everyone else over because that character was bust ass. I just hated the N64 though. I hated it. I hated that controller. You have to have a third fucking arm to be able to play it properly. It's just a horrendous design. And as much as I got used to it playing, GoldenEye around a mate's house, I wasn't ever enraptured with it. I mean, it wasn't long later that I played Time Splitters, and that was the game that really just overtook it in terms of LAN. There was GoldenEye there that still some of us wanted to play, but most of us had just moved over and moved on to greater and bigger things. And sure, 007 GoldenEye is one of those games that just made console shooters what they are and set them on this path. I just don't have the respect for it there. And I really enjoyed my time with Rise of the Tomb Raider. So I'm gonna cause offense online left, right, and centre. I'm gonna put my vote on Rise of the Tomb Raider. It sure is Uncharted light, but it's still really good.
How about you, Spence? Game. Where'd you fall on this one?
Right, well, I've not played either of these games. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because GoldenEye was before my time.
What, you've never played GoldenEye in your life?
Mate, I'll set it up. Come over, we'll play it. We'll need someone else though. That's the only problem. We need 4 players. 3 players, that's
crazy.
You need the 4 players. I've got an N64. I've got the 4 handsets. I've got the original game. We need to play this.
I'm down, mate. I'm down. I'd love to actually give it a go. I've seen a lot of it on like YouTube and stuff. I know it's a legacy game. It's a very, very important
game. The drunker you get, the better it gets, because the graphics just make more sense.
I know, I've not played it, but I've seen the graphics. I understand what you mean. I played the Tomb Raider game that came out, the remake or whatever it is. It's not really a remake. I'm not sure what it is, but they went back to Tomb Raider.
Kind of like a reboot. Yeah. It's like a reboot.
Reboot is the word. Reboot is the word to use. And I loved it. I honestly loved it. But I've not played Rise of the Tomb Raider. But all I gotta say about Tomb Raider is Uncharted did it better. So my vote's going to GoldenEye.
I got the deciding vote on this.
Simple as that.
So yes, I own both these games, played both of these games, completed both of these games, spent a hell of a lot more time in Goldeneye. Goldeneye was part of my childhood. It was the reason we had sleepovers at my house. We'd invite two friends over, me and my brother, and we'd thrash out Goldeneye pretty much all night, and then get told off in the morning for not having any sleep. Rise of the Tomb Raider, I actually own it on, it's probably a swear word on this podcast, the Xbox. So yeah, that minuses points definitely that I own it on the Xbox, not the PlayStation. So we'll go GoldenEye, that's my vote. 100% GoldenEye, so that brings it through. Nice one.
Okay, so up next we've got World of Warcraft and Journey. Now this is an easy vote for me because I did play a little bit of World of Warcraft. Phil was mega into it, and he kept going on about how good it was. And so I created a character called, what's he called? Dom Perignon.
I think he was a paladin, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like some big werewolf guy.
Oh, then it wasn't a
thing,
paladin then, if it was a werewolf, because they came in much later.
God knows what. He was definitely a werewolf guy. And it was fun. It was fun. But Journey's an experience. It's an experience that you get to the end of it and you don't realize that you've been playing with another player. And when I did my run through, I did it all with the same person online. And we just experienced the entire game together. And there's no chat. You can't speak to each other. There's nothing like that. You can only emote. And so I thought it was just an AI. And it wasn't. It was another person.
Is that a
It just
spoiler?
made it so much more special. No.
Journey came out years ago.
I mean, Christ. The game is super old, and it won't make any difference. The game is just... It is a masterpiece. I know it gets thrown around a lot, that word, but it really is. It's one of the best games on PlayStation 3, and it still holds up today. You play it, it's about an hour and a half long, and you're done with it. But it is a journey. It really is a journey. It's got to go. I've got to vote for it. I have to. That's definitely mine. I don't know about you guys.
These games are vastly different. Like you said, Journey is an hour and a half long. World of Warcraft is... it's long. It does not end. And if it does end, new expansion. Journey, I played at my friend's house on his PS4, I think. And I went over there and I was just looking through his games. I think he had to do something. So I just kind of stayed in his place and waited. And I was looking through, I was like, what should I play? And I heard nothing but great things about Journey. So I just booted it up. And I beat it in the time my mate was gone. And he came back and I was at the credits. And it showed me a list of everyone that I experienced the game with. And I just thought, that's so cute. Like, that's so nice, knowing that even though I didn't get to speak to these people, we've shared the same experience. And that was awesome. I really appreciated Journey for that. I honestly loved it. Doesn't have a platinum though, because I was going to beat it again. But it doesn't. Whereas World of Warcraft, during Cataclysm of World of Warcraft, there were these Chuck Norris adverts on TV. And I saw one of those and I thought, oh fucking hell, I gotta play WoW now. So I made an account, made my character. His name was Knick Knack Tic Tac. He was a orc. No, he wasn't an orc. What was he? Knick Knack Tic Tac.
What a great name.
Yeah,
what a great name.
It's
that
because I was
was.
eating a
You
pack of
were
Knick
Horde.
Knacks and I didn't know what to name him.
Me and Davey went Alliance.
Yeah. Locktar Garmate all the fucking way. I can't remember what race I was. Like a troll or something, some big blue geezer. But I was a warrior. And I played all the way up until Mr. Pandaria, I think. And I tried playing Legion a bit. But I didn't play it much. I mostly just waited for those 3 weekends they gave you. They'd always say, yes, 48 hours of game time. And I'd just be like, sick, it's time. For those 2 days, I'd grind the fuck out of WoW. And then that was it. I'd be done then. That was my fill. They don't really do that anymore. So I haven't gone back to WoW since. But I've put time into World of Warcraft. I adore World of Warcraft. It's an amazing game. And if you can get into it, you can kiss your life goodbye. It's so good. In fact, Joseph Thomas, fan again, he plays it all day, every day on Classic. You can't speak to him because he's too busy. I don't know when he goes to work because he does nothing but play WoW. And I respect it because it is a fantastic game. I still think I want to give it to Journey. Just because, yeah,
Wow. Wow, that's surprising. I didn't expect that. I thought
I
you
didn't
definitely going to
expect
say
it.
wow then.
I didn't expect it, but I thought back to Journey and thought, what a one-of-a-kind experience, you know? There's not much quite like Journey. Well, I don't think there's anything quite like
Is
Journey.
there much like World of Warcraft, though?
No.
I mean, there's so many MMOs. None of them do it like WoW. WoW is the best one. But I still think Journey takes it for me, because for that hour and a half, granted it's a lot less time than I put into WoW, it was all the time it needed for me to know it was a masterpiece.
I suppose it's like we say on the podcast all the time, isn't it? Game length doesn't equal game quality. And if a game's going to tell you a story and it wants it to be that tailored experience at that time, then let it run that time. Don't pad it out. And the impact that it has for the short amount of time that it's there is truly special. You know, I think if it had been 4 or 5 hours long, it wouldn't have kept up. It wouldn't have had the same impact that it did being there for that amount of time.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Well, if playtime equals the best game, World of Warcraft would be my number one. It's the game I've spent the most time in. Spencer, you were talking about the time that you've spent in Smash Brothers. I would have eclipsed that number if I typed /playtime into World of Warcraft. I hardcored World of Warcraft all the way through alphas, the beta. We did vanilla and Burning Crusade, and we were one of the most progressive guilds on our server. We played PvP servers, but we were going for World's First before World's First. I went out to Sweden to play at DreamHack and things like that, and met up with clan members and have made friends that have stayed friends to today. I owe a lot to World of Warcraft. It's the reason I barely passed my first year in university, and it's the reason my brother didn't pass his A-levels at the time, because we literally played World of Warcraft. We religiously got up early, played it till late at night, and had minimal sleep for that time we played World of Warcraft. I never want to go back to it because I just have a life now, and I could never sacrifice that again for World of Warcraft. So the time I spent was immense, and I look back on it very fondly. So my vote would go for World of Warcraft over Journey.
Who's reading this one out?
Is it my introduction? I think it's
It's
a Spencer
me.
introduction, yeah.
Okay. So, fuck. For this set, we have Half-Life 2 versus the game we cannot mention 2. And you should all know what game that is, and I apologize if you don't. Because we didn't specify that the button's armed. Can I say it? Can we disarm the button for me to say it so people know, and then we turn it back on? No,
Try it. Try it.
That's
See what
the dumbest
happens.
shit I've heard in my life.
No, go on.
The game we cannot mention 2.
What is that?
Capcom
though?
survival horror game. Without dinosaurs.
I'll just say, I promise I won't press it.
I can see your hand on the mouse.
It's not
I
on,
swear.
it's not on the mouse,
It's
mate.
not. It's resting it. I'm resting it.
Alright, fuck it. If I do a shot, I do a shot, but I shouldn't. It's Half-Life 2 versus Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil.
Shocker.
Oh, that's
He
a
has
shot
pressed
for
the button.
next episode. Oh,
And we're not going to
mate.
forget about this shot,
Yeah,
because there's been so many episodes
terrible.
where we've ended up with shots which we've forgotten about. So we've got to enforce that next episode. So make a note.
I've played both these games to death. Not the original for the latter game that I can't mention. But I played loads of Half-Life 2. It's one of the first games I got on PC. I did love it. Honestly, loved it. And this was way after it came out, and I still loved it. I still thought it was a great experience. But the game I can't mention too is so fucking sick. It's easily one of my favorite games of all time. It eclipses Half-Life 2 for me. It is leagues better. I don't think... Granted, I've only played the remake. I did play the original, but only a little bit. I didn't play it much at all. I can't even remember. I just know I played it. I can't remember anything about it. So, the remake is so fucking good. It's so fucking good. I'm just going to keep it short. Game we can't mention 2 wins. For me, anyway. My vote goes there. I'm not saying it wins. It's going to win. But I'm saying it goes there.
I think this is the most difficult one for me personally, because both of these series I owe so much to, and they are probably my two favorite series is of all time, really. You know, I put a post out there saying about Portal 2, sort of Death Stranding, and the game that cannot be mentioned 2 are my top 3 games. So it's going to be very hard for me to sway this and convince you guys that I would prefer Half-Life 2 over the game that cannot be mentioned 2. Half-Life series, it's the reason I like PC gaming, ultimately why I'm here and why I love gaming. But the game I love over Half-Life 2 is the game that cannot be mentioned too. So yeah, I think this is going to be a clean sweep, unfortunately. I hate that it went out so early in IGN's versus Tomb Raider, but now it's going to go out really early against a series which we all absolutely love, so it's going to be so difficult. I'm sorry, Gordon Freeman.
Gordon, you just got bodied, son. Because, yeah, obviously I'm voting for the series that can't be named too. It's not my favorite in there. Obviously, I wanted to push for the original entry, the remake. But, you know, I got to side with you guys on this. And the second entry, oh my God, it's so difficult. The second entry is an incredible game. And both the original and the remake of that stand the test of time today. Sensational games.
So sad.
Easy for you.
Unlucky Half-Life 2.
That is
been done
really
dirty,
to be fair. But with that, we're on to our final match for round 1.
Okay, so we have Civilization versus Final Fantasy VII. We're not talking about remakes here. We're talking about the OG Final Fantasy here, boys. So that would be PlayStation 1, I believe. Spencer, I'll go to you first.
This is a bit awkward. I played a bit of the FF7 original on an emulator on my PC, but that's it. That is literally it. That's all my time. It was maybe an hour. In fact, I think I got to that first boss you fight in the factory. It's not really a factory. I don't know. It is a factory. I got to that fight and I beat that boss. Yeah.
It's a reactor.
Yeah,
it's a reactor. It's in the Maker reactor.
I got to that first boss. I think I beat that boss, and I was like, "Fucking hell, that was hard." And then that was it. I never went back to it. Whereas Sid Meier's Civilization 4, which isn't the one I'd have put on here, I'd have put Civ 5. But I did check the Metacritics, and 4 did have a higher Metacritic score, so that's why it's here. I haven't played it. I played Civ 5 a little bit, more than I've played FF7, but not enough, and it's an undertaking to get into a Civilization game. You have to learn a lot. Whereas I love JRPGs. FF7 is a legacy game. I played Cloud in Smash. The only time I thought about dropping Cloud was to play Sephiroth, let's be honest. FF7's sick. My vote, straight to FF7.
My vote, immediately FF7. Easy clap for this. FF7 is just a timeless game, and especially for us in the PlayStation faithful, is a game that really put the console on the map when it originally launched in 1997, I think it was. It's a masterpiece of a game in its original form, and the remake does a really, really good job of modernizing that for modern day. The ending isn't what I want at all, but in terms of a timeless game, which I think holds up today if you can get over the graphics of it, because it looks awful. It's just a masterpiece. It's one of those games that I'd class a 10 out of 10.
So over to me. I've played a lot more of one series, and I haven't played any of the other series. So I've played a lot of Civ on the PC, but I haven't played any Final Fantasy. My only memories really of Final Fantasy is going over a friend's house when we were sort of chipping PlayStations back in the day. Sorry to anyone that's official from PlayStation, but that was the stuff we were involved in back in the day, burning off copies of games. And Final Fantasy VII was the one that a lot of people seem to want, and I played a little bit over my friend's house. It is a game that I do want to sort of go back to. especially because I'm looking to start playing some of the more retro games on my stream. And yeah, I think my vote probably here is going to go for Final Fantasy after what you guys have said, purely because it's a game that I know has a big past, and it's a game I really, really want to play, and I will be playing it on the original hardware and the original version of the game rather than the remake.
So that concludes the end of round 1. It's been a busy all round. And that was a lot longer than I anticipated it being. When Spencer scrolled down, we saw the rest of the bracket that was left in front of us. I kind of did have a little bit of Wii that came out. It was a little bit scary. But that concludes that. Now, that is going to be the end of this episode. Now, I want to say first off, guys, thank you ever so much for listening to where we've got to so far at the end of round 1. The next video will be out in 2 weeks, which will then detail the second half and be the final video for this series, which will then cover off round 2, 3, 4, and the finals. So it's going to be a bit of a long one on the next one, just like this was. But I'm really grateful for you listening as far as you have done. And there's one way that you can support the show, which is please put a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast. It really helps us grow the podcast and find a larger audience. And a final reminder, remember, there's a straw poll that will be in the description of this podcast to be able to vote on Spoilercast of the Past, the first ever episode. And those choices, guys, were, for myself, Metal Gear Solid.
I've chosen Heavy Rain.
For me, I chose Devil May Cry 1.
So remember, listener, it's all up to you to choose what we're going to cover on that in the coming weeks, because that poll does end towards the end of October. Now, I've been Davey.
I've been Phil.
And I've been Spencer.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters, @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. See ya.